With Austin Hannon. I am Mason Smith, and this is Just a Minute. Austin, one thing that's interesting about SEC play starting up for Alabama men's basketball is that everybody is back. Demar Burnett had an injury. Javon Quinlity came back earlier in the year. Don Welch is finally getting minutes. So the full roster is available to Nate Oates. But of course, some players have had better starts than others in the first half of SEC play. Now we're getting back in the second half. Who do you think's really going to step up and have a really big stretch going into the end of the season?
Yeah, the easy answer here is obviously Brandon Miller, right? Everybody would say, if Alabama's going to have success, it's up to Brandon Miller and how he plays down the stretch. And he struggled the last 3 games. I mentioned it on the podcast yesterday, just 13 points a game, I believe on 37% shooting. But I'm glad you brought up Nimari Burnett because that was one of the names I was going to bring up. I think it's huge that he's coming back from injury. Obviously, he hasn't really been playing as many minutes since he's been back just because they've been trying to get him back into the swing of things. But he's a guy that's going to be Alabama's best perimeter defender. And in a game where we saw the opposing team's guard score 30, that's where you're missing Nimari Burnett, right? So he's going to be a big key moving forward. I really like what I've seen from Rylan Griffin recently. I think he's starting to get more aggressive on the offensive end. Oates has been talking about how he's been playing better defense as well. So another guy that might be able to find his way into the starting lineup if he keeps playing the way he is. And then the last name I got to go is Javon Quinterly. A lot of talk earlier in the year. Obviously, he had the horrible injury last year. Was very inconsistent to start the season, but had big games. Now we're kind of starting to see him play better and better every game as SEC play goes on. I think he played pretty well against Oklahoma as well. After starting poorly, he kind of picked it up and had a good second half to kind of avoid getting beat by 30. I think he and Riley Griffin were the big reasons Alabama was able to escape that 30 piece. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see moving forward. I think those 3 guys are 3 guys I keep my eye on. And obviously, you want Brandon Miller and Noah Clowney to kind of get things going again, too, because they're probably the best 2 players on this team.
Honestly, you had 2 of the 3 names that I was going to say. I agree with Ryan Griffin and Javon Quinley 100%. I think Rylan Griffin is the game is starting to slow down for him. I know it's really a cliche term in basketball, but I really do think the game is starting to slow down for him. He's finding his rhythm both offensively and defensively. Javon Quinley, even Nate Oates talked about it yesterday, I think, during Hey Coach, where he's getting his pop back. He's getting that old athletic ability back pre-injury. And of course, some people may not return to their former selves before the injury, but it looks like Javon Quinley is actually returning to that. And the third player I'm going to name is Dom Welch. I do think Dom, finally getting the lid off the rim, hitting a 3 there, hitting a couple shots there.
Seriously, yeah.
It's going to be a really big deal for him to kind of find more and more of his rhythm. And honestly, the next couple of games for Alabama are against some lesser than talented opponents. We respect Vanderbilt, we respect LSU, but these are games he can really kind of get his shooting rhythm going. So when those big games come, he will be ready to go. So I'm looking forward to all those guys and more kind of stepping up for the rest of the season. But with Austin Hannon, I am Mason Smith. This has been Just a Minute. Thank you so much for watching.